What's up, Colliders? You're back with YouTube's favorite couple. I'm the kid JW. That's Ms Diva Talks.
What's up, y'all?
Yo, so we back with another story from TikTok news. What's the most microaggressive thing that you've ever experienced from TikTok news? What you think?
Well, what's the most microaggressive thing you've ever experienced? Like being followed around at the store and you ain't stealing shit.
I've never been followed around the store, to be honest with you.
Oh, of course you haven't.
Exactly.
Start the video.
I don't look suspicious when I go to a store.
You can say that again. Look like a cop.
What's the most microaggressive thing you've ever experienced?
The most microaggressive thing? What comes to mind is I was working with my older sister. She owns a mobile dog grooming company. And we were in this really rich neighborhood. And we had a client. It was a white Italian family. And, you know, the wife comes out, have a conversation with her, good. Then the husband comes out. And I think he asked my sister if I was her husband. And so she tells him, like, no, she laughs it off. That's my little brother. And then he proceeds to ask, oh, do you have the same parents?
Mm.
My oldest sister, she is the lightest out of our family. She's like, I want to say 3 shades darker than me. Excuse me, lighter than me. She's 2 shades lighter than me. And, you know, she shrugs it off and says, oh, yeah, we do. It's like, why would you ask that question? For what reason?
What's the most
Definitely valid.
microaggressive thing you've ever experienced?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So peep game, it was my first year in education. I was a paraprofessional. One of the teachers on my team was a little bit off. One random Monday morning, this teacher comes up to me and asks, Chris, did you text me over the weekend? I'm thinking to myself, lady, I just started working here. How would I get your number? Why would I text you? Like, all these thoughts going in my head, but I'm like, no, that wasn't me. She proceeds to tell me that on Sunday, she was feeling really down in the dumps. She wasn't feeling the Holy Spirit, and she did not want to go to church with her family. Yet, all of a sudden, she receives a random text message from a number that says, hey, yo, what up? It's Jesus, your homie. So she shows me this message trying to say, like, yeah, I just knew it had to be you because you were like, hey, homie, what's up? I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't talk to you like that. I mean, I do code switch really well, but not around here. I just got here. No, she was adamant that I was the black Jesus that sent her the inspiration to go to church that Sunday. Yeah, it was weird.
What's the most microaggressive thing you've ever experienced?
Okay, y'all, I'll never forget this. I was at work in the morning. We were about to proctor the SAT. And a student was in the room while we were picking up our materials, and he had his hair like mine, but his hair was out. So imagine my hair, but it's out. And my hair was braided back at the time. And so my coworker, as we were picking up our materials, she said to me, you know, I hate it when they have their hair like that, when it's out like that. It reminds me of Sideshow Bob. It's so unappealing. Like, I can't stand it. And so I looked at her. Mind you, my hair was braided, and I was like, so you mean like my hair is when it's out? And she was like, oh no, I wasn't talking about you. I didn't mean you. Child, you know what you meant.
Mm-hmm.
What's the most
They always know what the hell they mean.
microaggressive thing you've ever experienced?
Okay, so I'm in my break room. You see this? This is where a little love seat used to be. Okay, so on my break, I would sit on the end of the love seat. Like, I would have my arm resting on the arm of the love seat. I would cross my legs, set my alarm for, you know, when it was time for me to go back to work. And I'd take me a little disco nap, a little 15, 20-minute snooze, right? Tell me why after that, the couch suddenly got labeled dirty and nasty and unclean and unkept. Now, before I started sitting there, motherfuckers was, honey, having full-on slumber, stretched out, face in the pillows, all that. But me sitting with my legs crossed, taking a 15-minute snooze, now the love seat was deemed, you know, dirty. And then right after that, you know, it got moved out of there completely. It got thrown away. And then the cleaning.
What they say?
The Karens complained that I had, and I quote, the nerve to take a nap on my break. So they petitioned to have a table that none of them utilized.
Used to have spilled the tea that they was complaining about me the whole time.
What's the most microaggressive thing you've ever experienced?
I can recall something like that happened to me while I was at work. So, we had these, I don't know, I guess cubbies where you put your stuff in at your desk.
Mm-hmm.
Ours had padded tops. So when I was on break, I would put my legs up. Next thing you know, oh, we can't be putting our legs up on the little cubbies or whatever. Like, okay.
I mean, I kind of get that in the workplace because I used to put my feet up on my desk and it was like, you can't put your feet up on your desk by you.
The desk though.
Like
this was a whole separate situation from a desk.
Like, you know, but yeah, I get it.
Exactly.
So when I was a junior in college, I became an RA for the freshman dorm at my school. Keep in mind, I went into a PWI. There were 10 RAs on my team, and out of the 10 of us, 3 of us were black women. By the end of the first semester, 2 of the 3 black women RAs had already quit, just to give you an idea of what we experienced. That whole year that I was an RA was quite literally its own microaggression. For example, whenever incoming freshmen would tour the freshman dorms, they'd make sure that I was one of the tour guides to show diversity. I have a lot of examples, but the biggest one was at the end of the year. After all that I experienced throughout that whole year, by the end of the year, I concluded I wasn't coming back. So at the last RA meeting of the year, it was all the RAs we had left and our immediate supervisor. And the supervisor tells the other RAs to be on the lookout for other possible RAs for next semester who are also minorities. She then goes on to say, because we're losing our minority piece, and points to me.
What's the most micro
Wow. Just not even trying to hide it. All right.
aggressive thing you've ever experienced?
A woman came over to me at the library to compliment my son and tell me that she thought he was so cute, and she asked if he looked more like me or his father. And then she backed up, apologetic like, and asked if I even know who the dad is.
Yo, I got a quick question. What's the most...
Is that a stigma that
Yes.
palm colored people just believe that?
It is.
One, we don't know our fathers, and if
It
we have
is.
siblings, we all have different dads.
It is. And I can say that because it's, being out amongst the peoples of the world. They look at it like it's rare because with them, they're used to their kids being, the same damn color. Palm colored. So, and then of course us, we don't look like, when we go out with our mom, we don't look like, we look different and stuff. Different shades and whatnot. Hell, I remember once I thought one of my friends was adopted because they was darker than their mom and dad.
But that's so ignorant, though.
I didn't condone it.
But ignorant to the point of you don't have to say this dumb shit. Like, just mind your business. Just mind your business.
So yeah, that's a stigma. And two, the reason it says it's a stigma because it's like, I would say, and don't get twisted, the palm color people, the sheet of paper people can
8.5 by 11-inch people.
Right. That's really, really big. But no, they have kids, they have single parents and whatnot. But they're quick to get with somebody and then that person becomes their kid's new dad and whatnot. Like, this is your new dad. Hi, Timmy, this is your new dad, Todd. And they're like, oh, okay, Also, on the other hand, we don't bring our kids around to say any and everybody. So that's why it's
You're not supposed to.
so that's why it's a stigma of like, oh, she must ain't got no, they must not have no dad and whatnot. So it's a stigma. I've experienced that part of it because just being around in the crowd.
Microaggressive thing you've...
I don't know if these really count, and I wouldn't say like they're the most or like the worst, just interesting, like it was weird. So like when I was a server, white tables wouldn't take my food recommendations because they believed that I was recommending them something so unbelievably spicy that their palates couldn't handle it, but mine could because as a Hispanic person, I guess my spice tolerance is higher than theirs. I have had people, they wouldn't blatantly say, can you get me a white server? But they've definitely said in other words, get me a white person to recommend food for me because I don't trust your recommendations, you fucking Mexican. Assuming I don't speak English when I greet a white table, which is weird. Like, why why would I they hire me if I can't communicate to you? Like, these aren't the worst, and it's not like horrible or anything. It's just always weird and off-putting.
What's the most microaggressive thing you've ever experienced?
Oh, I have a good one for this. So, picture this. I'm an architect in a firm, and I've drawn some designs for a guy's house that he wants completely revamping. Client comes in for a meeting, and I've never met him before. My director goes down first into the meeting room, and I follow him after I've printed out all the drawings. Now, bear in mind, when I'm in a professional setting, I always wear my turban. I go into the meeting room, and to my surprise and delight, it is a fellow Singh, a guy wearing a turban. And it's really rare to see people with a turban, or brown people in architecture. Just super, super rare. Anyway, before I even have time to sit down, my director looks at me, looks at the client, and says, "Do you know each other?" Like, yeah, dickhead. Because we wear turbans, our fathers sold goats to each other in India. What?
Yo, I got a quick question. What's the most...
That's another thing too.
Yeah.
Like, we all look alike. No, we don't.
I've done the whole, like, work where I work at, we've also, it's like, oh, y'all know each other. Because they all tend, like as my dad would say, they all tend to flock around the same crew. And they in that case, they all do know each other, because they stick to, in their communities. But it's like, yeah, you had, the piece of paper folks, assume they're like, oh my God, do you guys, like, know each other? And it's like, no, just because.
Are you all related?
Like, just because this happens to be.
You all are brothers.
That too. Like, it could be a party. It's like, and the first thing we do when we go to like a work party or whatever, we do play into it.
Yeah, we got to spot the other melanated person in the room. We spot
the other person that's like us. And,
exactly.
Hey, what's up? And then you see Karen. Oh my God, you guys know each other? No, we just met. Oh, and it's like, yeah.
No, we stick by a different code than you all. But
like, yeah. And then once we notice, it starts becoming, more like just salt and pepper, we leave.
Most microaggressive thing you've...
When people tell me that I am very well spoken, the part that they leave out, they mean very well spoken for a Black woman.
Yes.
What's the most micro...
Yes.
I've had that told a lot. Like, oh, you speak different. What? Huh? Or like the infamous when I came back from college. You sound white because I'm at work. Like, trust and believe.
Yeah.
Once I go to my car at lunch, trust me.
That's something we have to check ourselves on because, that's microaggression to ourselves.
So. But yeah, we code switch. When I'm on the clock, yes, I will sound proper like Timmy and Jane.
Mm-hmm.
But I will also let you know.
So will I. Knowing that I don't give a fuck about these people. But anyway.
But me at least, I let us live sometime. I'll be like, what's good? Or I'll be like, all right, no worries, no problem, Or I'll be like, all right, yeah, we gonna keep it 100 with you, keep it 100.
Aggressive thing you've ever experienced.
Y'all want to hear some shit about what it's like being the only Black person in a workplace? Let's go. So I worked at an escape room, and me and my coworkers were talking about where we live in the city. And we were just talking about like how long it takes us to get home because we were closing late that night, etc., etc. You get the gist. So I'm explaining, my house isn't too far. I live in this approximate area. I wasn't giving my exact location. I'm telling them I live near here, so I just take the train here. And then, of course, the palm-colored folk are going to do what they do. And she goes, oh, but I know that area. Isn't it pretty dangerous? And I'm like, oh, okay. I never said exactly where I live, so now you're just assuming that I live in the hood. I do. But you're assuming. So again, I just tell her, no, I just take the train home. It's not that hard. You want to know what this is? Listen, I shouldn't be laughing. But she says, do you get shot at every time you go home from work? I didn't even know what to say. But you want to know the worst part? The day after she said that, there was literally a shooting that hit my balcony. So thank you for that, sis.
Question.
Damn. I have a story like that. So there was someone who applied for a loan.
Mm-hmm.
And the underwriters came back and said,
Hell no, basically.
Nah.
Oh.
They just wanted extra proof of income. So they wanted tax returns.
Okay.
So this lady, she brought in they wanted tax returns because her pay stubs was suspicious. And so I'm telling my manager this, and she's like, well, did you Google the address on the pay stubs? And I was like, no. So she decides to Google it. And I Googled it at the same time that she did, just to see. So I pull up this, I'm not going to say what it is for the sake of, privacy. But it was this location, place. And she's like, oh my gosh, what type of neighborhood is this in? And I pulled it up. I'm like, man, this is like 5 blocks away from my house. And she's like, oh my gosh, I would never go there. And I'm just thinking like, if you only knew.
I mean, I've done that. Like when people I've done that. Like when people give like addresses and stuff to me, I'm always quick to like Google it. I want to see, what your name is. Like,
not me.
And I'll be like,
wanna know why?
Why?
Because I don't give a shit. And I'm minding my business.
Because see, me, depending, like if you sound, in my line of work, if you sound like, ghetto and whatnot, I'm gonna look your address up to see.
What is sounding ghetto? You mean uneducated?
When you sound ghetto.
When you sound uneducated?
What's the most microaggressive thing you've ever experienced?
I wouldn't say this is the most because I am a black woman, so we kind of experience microaggressions every other day. But I went into the supermarket. It's called West Side Market in New York. I was ready to pay. I pulled out my debit card to pay, and then the cashier asked me, is that an EBT card? My debit card looks nothing like an EBT card. And I said, no. She looked at me up and down, and then she checked me out. But that's the type of microaggressions you receive as a black woman in New York City.
Definitely experienced this myself. Like, oh, is that an EBT card? No, it's a credit card.
What's the most microaggressive thing you've ever experienced?
So I had a coworker who used to try to paint me as like the office villain all the time. She would go to our managers and directors on a fairly consistent basis to try to, paint me as intimidating or as if I was bullying her or something like that, which was crazy because we worked in 2 separate departments for one. Not that they didn't intermingle, but we were very separate most of the time. Most of the time, I had no reason to speak to her or even see her for that matter. But in the few times that I would have to see her, I kept it very short, like to whatever task that we were doing, and then I was out because it just always got really interesting the longer that we would be together. So it escalated to a point that she got so weird about all of this that when there were tasks that did call for us to have to do anything together, I would just delegate those tasks to someone else because it just wasn't worth it to me to constantly have to go through this rigmarole with her. So we got pulled into our director's office one time, and I'm being asked, well, clearly there's a problem between the two of you. What is the problem? And, I'm going, well, I don't know. Y'all called me here. You tell me what the problem is. I didn't come to you about a problem. So what's the problem? And, immediately she goes into, oh, well, I don't know. I don't know anything about this. I didn't know that there was a problem. I don't have a problem with you. I mean, I don't know why we're here. So I'm like, okay, well, you don't know why we're here and I don't know why we're here. I'm going to go. I have stuff to do. So I got up and I walked out. And then it really escalated from there to like there were times that she would act like she was physically scared of me. One time specifically, she's coming down the hallway. I'm going in the opposite direction down the hallway. We get to a point where there's about 5 feet of space in between us. And mind you, up until this point of us walking towards each other down this hallway, she's pretending she doesn't see me at all. Like she's on her phone and pretending like she has no idea I'm even there. There's about 5 feet of distance between us, and all of a sudden she starts like hugging the wall and like skirting around me going, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. My bad. I'm sorry. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, what happened? So she like kind of gets around me, and now I'm like, I don't know what you're doing. So I go to like look over my shoulder to be like, what is going on? And as I turn, I see our director standing at the end of the hallway behind me, and I'm like, oh, that's what you're doing. Okay.
Have you or anyone you know ever shared a night?
You've been through something similar to that.
No.
Yeah, only yours was way more turned up than her story.
Nah. No, I ain't been no like that.
Yo, Karen tears are probably the most weaponized things on this earth.
And Ken tears.
Exactly.
Nice experience with a celebrity?
I've been waiting for this one. I have the best.
Right.
But yeah, so
we did that one already.
Y'all already know the deal. Yeah, we've all been there.
Unfortunately,
we've all been there. We'll do a video. We'll tell y'all one of ours. But anyway, we've been there a few times. It ain't gonna stop. Never gonna stop. It is what it is.
No, because unfortunately, people don't know when they're doing it.
You just gotta accept it and
call them out on it. You ain't gotta accept shit.
And me, because I ain't doing anything that's gonna jeopardize my money. So I'm just gonna accept it, keep it pushing. As long as I know I ain't doing nothing, keep pushing. Okay? I ain't letting you mess into my money. You gonna take us out?
Well, of course, Colliders, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe because, of course, we're coming back with more. And tell us about some of, your microaggressive experiences
in the comments below.
In the comments, because I would love to, see what's going, if we all have the same experiences, because I'm pretty sure we have. But anyway, anything else you want to add?
You know the routine. Like, subscribe. See y'all next time.
Bye, y'all.